rate of inflation. All right, welcome back to the Live Zone Prime Time on this Tuesday evening. If you've been outside at all today, you know it was cold. Just showing some of those live pictures all across the region, showing temperatures in the low 30s, upper 20s, felt even colder for most of the day. And if you aren't a fan of this winter-like weather, I've got some bad news because some even colder weather is on the way by this weekend. Winter has not even officially arrived yet, and that has some people cranking up the heat, but that also means spending some big money. Average electricity costs have gone up 11% this year alone since January. That's more than 3 times the rate of inflation, and more Americans are struggling to keep up. Now, electricity disconnections are soaring nationwide. So yesterday, Prince George's County Councilmember Wala Blegay hosted a State of the Power meeting to take a closer look at this energy crisis, what's causing it, what can be done, and what resources are available for anyone struggling. And the councilwoman joins us live tonight to talk more about that event, why this is such a major issue for people, and what can be done about this. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Live Zone Primetime.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. We had this event because people saw bills that were double and quadruple, and we learned quite a few things. I actually started looking into this last year, and the reason why I had this event is because the community needed to be informed. We are on a 13-state consortium for power. Many people don't know that. So when they're building a data center in Virginia or in Prince William or Loudoun County, we are all on the same grid. What the utilities company has been clear that the increase of usage in electricity, we're electrifying everything. In addition to electrifying everything, new homes are all electric. We're driving electric cars. We're opening up supercomputer data centers. So while we're doing all this, the grid is getting more usage on the grid, and we're closing down coal plants. So coal plants is old school. We're moving away from it, but as we close down coal plants, we haven't brought new power generation. What PJM said at the Qualified Data Center Task Force that I wanted people to hear is that we're looking at possible blackouts by 2027 if we don't get new power generation. And frankly, the more usage we have and the less space on the grid for all the usage, the cost goes up for residents. In addition, we also have the distribution side. Those costs has gone up as there's been rate increases at the Public Service Commission. So we're being hit on the distribution side, and we're being hit on the transmission side with the usage. So what we're telling people is that if the state of Maryland, we all have to get together and find a way to get more energy on the grid or start to really use renewable energy in certain ways. If not, we will be in trouble in a year and maybe a year and a half.
Councilwoman, thank you so much for paying attention to this issue and bringing it to the forefront. As so many residents across the DMV have been saying this to us, and just in the street you hear about it. Let me ask you this. So when looking at generation of new power, retiring these plants, what are some of the tangible things that are being discussed at the council level and at the state level to bring in more energy? Is it more distributed grids with more renewables and then some more diesel generation? Is it LNG or is it propane? Like, what are some of the things being discussed that could be taken up before 2027 so we can avoid the blackout crisis?
Well, I know there's a project in Baltimore that could bring more power generation, and there definitely is that, nobody wants that in their backyard. But the reality is that if people understood how much we needed that to get the power that we need, they would not be so against it. So that's one of the things, is educating community to let them know what's going on. Our conversations are really at the state level. For data centers, they said that the data centers 20, 30 years ago are not the ones now. The older ones did not require as much power as the newer ones that are coming on. The newer ones are supersized. They're AI. They're connected with AI, so they require so much more energy use than the ones before. And let me just tell you, the bad news is I know at least in Prince William County, they've got 20 that are pretty much in line in the next 10 years. Even though they've stopped putting data centers, the reality is that we are reaching out to the state that maybe the data centers have to bring their own generation, bring their own power. Don't get on the grid, get them off the grid, because right now we're paying more money because data centers are getting on the same grid. And when people say, oh, don't bring a data center to Prince George's County because it's going to increase our electric bill, it's going to increase your electric bill if they turn on the ones that they plan to put on in Frederick, if they turn on the ones that they plan to build in Montgomery County, if they turn on the ones that are coming. We are all on the same grid, and that is actually was news to me, and something has to be done. So we are waiting for leadership at the state level to really help us get to where we need to be with energy now.
So this is obviously not just a Prince George's County issue, like you said. This is not just something that's affecting the state of Maryland, but this is really something that's happening all across the country, and some places are being hit harder than others. Do you think this needs federal intervention at a certain point to be able to help this? And also, I mean, just yesterday we were reporting on President Trump saying he wants to get rid of wind power. So some of those renewables that we talked about, that's not even going to be an option. So what can be done?
We do need federal intervention. We are reaching out to our federal partners to tell them at the end of the day, if this continues, the bills are just going to rise. We cannot afford. We have worked with the utility companies. They have agreed not to turn anybody off. But the reality is that if somebody we had this 88-year-old woman that had a $1,500 bill for 1 month, and then they're going to put her on a payment plan. She doesn't have money to be on a payment plan and still pay the energy for that respective month. So we're telling people, if either we do something or lights are out, either because of disconnection or power outages because of strain on the grid. So we do feel that there needs to be a little more of a state of emergency when it comes to energy. And that's why I wanted to include the people first to let them know what's going on. PJM said they're not a political entity. They are just really trying to provide power. So when they said we're looking at blackouts by 2027, they're not on any agenda, but to let us know what their engineers are letting them know. And that's scary for all of us.
What are some of the tactics that you and the council, as well as some of your partners at the state level, are thinking about using to bring these data center companies to the table to say you may need to go have your own grid, or you may need to slow down your production of data centers or make smaller ones? Are there tactics being discussed that you all want to use for kind of more unofficial lobbying or community, like a community support and kind of grassroots movements?
Yeah, we really are talking about bringing their own generation. I mean, any of the data centers that's reached out to the county, that's something that we are asking, and they are familiar with it. And some are even willing to do it. So we think that that's the option. No new data center in any jurisdiction should get on the grid until we resolve it, because the reality is that while a data center is running, getting data, the reality is that the same grid is what keeps the light on in people's houses so that they can take care of their families, is what keeps their car running, is what keeps them to be able to do work in their homes. So once you start blacking out in people's homes and then they can't address issues in their households because their lights are out, now you're impacting people's every day, and that's not going to work for most of our residents.
Councilwoman, I hate to be a little doom and gloom here, but I was just looking up 30 years ago what gas prices were, and they were averaging around $1.25, depending on where you were. Obviously now they're 4 or 5 times as much, depending on where you are. Might this just be the new normal, that we're all going to be paying a hell of a lot more for electricity and our utilities?
No, we cannot accept that, especially if the strain on the actual grid is a data center that is paid for by somebody who's making quite a bit of money. We think that they should be able to pay their fair share. So if they bring their own generation, that's fair to us, especially because they're making money out of it. And it's survival for most of us. It's not survival for them. So I think that we cannot accept that. I think that we have to take a hard stance that they have to bring their own generation going forward. forward, and that all data centers after at a certain that are draining energy from the grid should be required to bring their own generation going forward. And I think if we get that on a federal level, that would definitely bring down the cost, because the cost, this is supply and demand. If the demand is high, the price goes up. We're paying Brandon Shores in Maryland to stay on to provide power because we cannot afford to have it turn off. At this point, we're paying them premium price. So we have to look at renewable energy. The scare for me with renewable options is that might take a while, and we need resolutions within a year and a half. We're talking about projects. Even building a power plant will take another 5-10 years, they said, to do that. So we have to have some immediate results now. And I think that taking some people off of our grid might be the answer.
Councilwoman, are there certain cost-saving programs within the council, not the council, within the county, as well as the state, that can be accessed by residents that may be dealing with a really high bill or may want to get subsidize or reduce costs from the county or the state? Are there programs like that for residents out there, and how can they access them if they are out there?
Well, we ask them to connect with their utility. We actually pay. It's so funny. I made a joke that years ago when I first, I got a letter from Pepco that they had these energy saving options. So I went and grabbed them and I signed up and got all this free stuff. And I said, oh, I got freebies. What I didn't know is that on my bill, there is a line item for Empower, and you're paid for that. So those are not free. We ask people to reach out to their utility companies. The utility sends a lot of information we might ignore, but it's really important because, to be honest, I haven't paid a high bill because not only do I have solar panels, but I also have all of those energy saving things. So we do tell everyone, you're paying for it already. You pay that bill every month with Empower. That's what it's called. And you pay for it. So when you pay for it, you need to take advantage of all those opportunities. Get a solar panel, get all of those energy saving costs going. And if you have an issue, reach out to the council or your council member. We can connect you. You can reach out to the Salvation Army if you have Pepco. Reach out to BGE. Each of them put $10 million a year to assist people with their bills. And if you are within a certain income, you can get that assistance. So we have to be pushing people, because many people don't use that fund. They don't apply for it, and we're asking them to please apply for it. And we are looking to the state. We are in a deficit right now, so we ourselves cannot pay everybody's bill, but we are looking at partnering with the state to come up with some solutions short term.
All right. Prince George's Council Member Wala Blegay joining us live here on the Live Zone Primetime. We appreciate you spending some time with us and spreading the message and how people can get the resources they need.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to take another quick break. We're going to leave you